Hi class, this week we will study Majjhima Nikaya. So this is a brief review about last week lecture. So we study the organization of Tipitaka. And the Tipitaka is an extensive body of canonical Pali literature. And the Buddha expounded his teachings for 45 years from the time of his enlightenment to his parinibbana. And those teachings are written in canonical Pali literature called Tipitaka. And this Tipitaka is composed of 3 baskets, and then those are Vinaya Pitaka, Sutanta Pitaka, Abhidhamma Pitaka. And Sutanta Pitaka is also made up of general sermons delivered by the Buddha or one of his disciples on various occasions. And Sutanta Pitaka is a collection of all the discourses delivered by the Buddha on various occasions. In last week, we focused on Digha Nikaya mainly, and then today we will study overview about Majjhima Nikaya. Okay. Majjhima Nikaya is comprised of the sutra with a middle length compared to the longer sutta of Digha Nikaya and shorter suttas making up the Samyutta Nikaya and Anguttara Nikaya. So most sutra in Majjhima Nikaya are very shorter length compared to the Digha Nikaya. Majjhima Nikaya consists of 152 sutra, and these 150 sutra are divided into 3 parts or 3 books called Pannasa. Pannasa means a set of 50. So each Pannasa, each part, is composed of 50 suttas. The first Pannasa contains 50 suttas, which is called Mula Pannasa Pali. The second part of Majjhima Nikaya is another set of 50 suttas are called Majjhima Pannasa Pali. And the third part is composed of 52 sutra, which is called Uparipannasa Pali. Each part is further grouped into chapters or divisions of 10 suttas. So each part has 50 suttas, and then these 50 suttas is further grouped into division of 10 suttas. Okay, so the first book, first part, Mula Pannasa Pali, deals with 50 suttas in 5 bhagas, 5 division of 10 suttas. Okay. The second book, Majjhima Pannasa Pali, also consists of second 50 suttas in 5 bhagas too. Okay. So last part deal with in 5 bhagas of the third book, Uparipannasa Pali, which means more than 50. Uparipannasa Pali is more than 50. So the first part, Mula Pannasa Pali, further group into 10 sutras. So the first book, Mula Pannasa Pali, deals with the first 50 sutras in 5 bhagas, such as Mula Pariyaya Bhaga, Sihanada Bhaga, and Tatiya Bhaga, Mahayamaka Bhaga, and Kulayamaka Bhaga. So the Majjhima Nikaya has been told that the entire system of classification appears to have been devised more for the purpose of convenience because of any essential homogeneity of subject matter in each division. Okay? So, Majjhima Nikaya is comprised of the sutras with middle length compared to the longer sutta of the Digha Nikaya and Shorter Sutra making up the Samyutta Nikaya and Anguttara Nikaya. And Majjhima Nikaya consists of 150 suttas. These 150 sutras are divided into 3 parts, and each part is further grouped into chapter or division of 10 sutras. So as I said just before, the first part, Mula Pannasa Pali, it contains 50 sutra, and then this 50 sutra is divided into 5 bhaga, 5 divisions. The first division, Mula Pariyaya Bhaga, the division of the discourse of the root. And second, Singhana Bhaga, the division of the lion's roar. And third, Titiya Bhaga, the third division, the Mahayamaka Bhaga, the great division of pairs, and then Kulayamaka Bhaga, the shorter division of pairs. Okay? So each Bhaga division has composed of 10 sutras. Sutras in Majjhima Nikaya throw much light on the social ideas and institutions of those days. Also, many sutras in Majjhima Nikaya illuminate, many sutras in Majjhima Nikaya provide general information on the economic and political life. And special features of Majjhima Nikaya is described like this. Majjhima Nikaya combine the richest variety of contextual settings with the deepest and most comprehensive assortment of teachings. So sometimes some sutra shows a stanza. Sometimes some sutra describe by way of a simile or a drama and a narrative based on a fascinating scenario. In Magandiya Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya number 75, there is a stanza appear like this. The greatest of all gains is health. Nibbana is the greatest bliss. The Eightfold Path is the best of paths, for it leads safely to the deathless. Majjhima Nikaya gives an account of skillful means of the Buddha's teachings in a way that the listeners or interlocutors are attracted with the Buddha's gentle humor, Buddha's majestic sublimity, and Buddha's generous compassion. So some suttas in Majjhima Nikaya are very interesting. And compared to long length of Digha Nikaya, it's not, in some sense, it's not bold, and then some, it's very short, but it provides impressive message to the listener or to the reader. When you read several sutras in Majjhima Nikaya, you can find Buddha's life pattern or Buddha's life from several sutras. In Akarya Abhuta Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya 123 sutra, the Buddha was a bodhisattva who lived in the two-seater heaven. And once the bodhisattva passed away from the two-seater heaven, he descended into his mom's womb. This sutra praise 20 marvelous attributes of the Buddha from the conception until the birth of the Buddha. Another sutra named Magandiya Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya 75, describe the Buddha's lifetime as a prince. In a Magandiya Sutta, there's there's a paragraph appear like this. When I lived the home life, I enjoyed myself, provided and endowed with the 5 chords of sensual pleasure. So when I lived the home life means when the Buddha was prince in Shaka kingdom, and Buddha really provide and endowed with the 5 chords of sensual pleasure, such as forms cognizable by the eye, with the sounds cognizable by the ear, with the odors cognizable by the nose, with the flavors cognizable by the tongue, with the tangibles cognizable by the body, that are connected with the sensual desire and provocative of lust. And continue that Magandi Sutta says, I had 3 palaces, one for the rainy season, one for the winter, and one for the summer. I lived in the rain's palace for the 4 months of the rainy season, enjoying myself with the musician, none of whom were men, and I did not go down the lower palace. So when the Buddha was a prince, he had 3 palaces. Okay? And so his life pattern is kind of a luxurious life pattern. And from this Magandi Sutta, the Buddha told Magandi the ascetic wanderer about the story of his renunciation, and then how he left luxurious palaces and then found happiness which were superior to any of the sensuous pleasure. And just before I said in the Majjhima Nikaya 123, Akarya Abhuta Sutta, the Buddha was bodhisattva in previous his life, and then this bodhisattva stay in the two-seater heaven, and then there is a sculpture inscribed about the bodhisattva preaching in the two-seater heaven. Okay, so when you look at this sculpture, there is no Buddha statue. but you can see some these kinds of tree. Since the Buddha, this sculpture was built after Buddha passed away. Therefore, still they think that Buddha is a holy creature. Therefore, they do not put Buddha statue. They just symbolize the Buddha as a tree. And then many disciples used to request for Buddha's preaching. Okay? So sometimes the Buddha can be symbolized as a tree, or sometimes just empty chair or footprint, because the Buddha is too much holy. So it's really hard to draw his image and then just to symbolize as a tree or empty chair or footprint or sometimes a leaf, the tree leaves. Okay, so you can see this is kind of symbolized of Bodhisattva. Actually, the Buddha in the previous his previous life as a Bodhisattva, staying in the two-seater heaven and provide preaching to the beings who stay in the two-seater heaven. So another sculpture this time, this also shows two-seater heaven. This is later art, later carving. So later the people put the Buddha image like this statue. And then the Buddha provided preaching in two-seater heaven. At the time, Buddha was a Bodhisattva. In other words, this Bodhisattva has not been fully enlightened. Also, in Arya Pariyesena Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya 26, the Buddha practiced with two teachers before he got fully enlightened. So once he left the palace, he tried to find a teacher to practice. And at the time, he has two teachers, and then those teachers were described in Majjhima Nikaya 26, named Arya Pariyesena Sutta. The two teachers' name is Alaya Kalama and Uddaka Lamaputta. The Buddha followed two teachers' teaching. However, Buddha realized that this Dhamma does not lead to disenchantment, does not lead to dispassionate, does not lead to cessation, does not lead to peace, not lead to direct knowledge, to enlightenment, does not lead to nibbana, but only to reappearance in the plane of no thing. What is the meaning of no thing? So there is a sphere of existence called the base of no thingness, in which the lifespan is supposed to be 60,000 aeons. Aeons means inconceivably long space of time. It's called aeons. So amazingly long space of time, long time. But so there's this, the sphere of no thingness is supposed to be, lifespan is in no thingness sphere is about 60,000. It's inconceivably long time. But even though that long time has elapsed, one must pass away and return to a lower world. So one still cannot free from birth and death, but is caught in the trap of Mara. Mara means, Mara, M-A-R-A, is like a personalized form of a death. There's, there's death, birth and death. And then this Mara manages the death of people. And then the death is kind of an abstract concept, but this concept can be personalized and then feel like someone controlled death, or manage the death of a human being. And those person is called Mara, M-A-R-A. But conceptually, this is, Mara means death. Okay, so once follow these two teachers' practice, Buddha realized there is some limit. And that limit really does not allow the Buddha fully enlightened, and then he still come back to the realm of sensual desire. So eventually he left these two teachers, and then he practiced by himself, and finally he discovered the Noble Eightfold Path. So in this sutra, Aryapariyesana Sutta, the Buddha stressed two different types of search. He explained it was extremely unwise to go after sensual pleasure, which is subject one to aging, disease, and death. The most noble search was to seek out that which will liberate one from aging, disease, and even death. But when the Buddha followed two teachers' lesson or guidance, the Buddha cannot liberate himself from aging, disease, and death. Therefore, he practiced by his way and eventually discover the noble path of 8 constituents. So it's just, in some sense, it's similar to Digha Nikaya. When you read Majjhima Nikaya, you will hear many sutta for 8 noble paths and noble eightfold paths, or 4 noble truths, and also meditation, of course. Okay. So some ideas underlying Majjhima Nikaya overlap to those in Digha Nikaya. Most sutta in Majjhima Nikaya were preached by the Buddha, but some suttas also delivered by the Buddha's disciple. So the Buddha's disciple delivered the transmission of the Buddha's teachings in Majjhima Nikaya. The Venerable Sariputta spoke 9 sutras in Majjhima Nikaya. Sammaditthi Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya 9, is an exposition on the right view delivered by the Venerable Sariputta. Sariputta addressed that when physical, verbal, and mental actions are motivated by greed, hatred, and delusion, such as 3 poison, and they are deemed to be bad. When they arise, such as physical, verbal, and mental actions arise through non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion, the actions are deemed to be good. Right view. Samaditi means sama, diti, right, ditti, view. Okay. or thinking of way. The right view is understanding what a good deed is and what a bad deed is. So it is a full comprehension of the Four Noble Truths and not holding on to eternity views concerning atta, such as self. And Sariputta also delivered the sermon in Majjhima Nikaya 28, Mahahati Padopama Sutta. And Venerable Sariputta used the simile of the elephant footprint in Mahahati Padopama Sutta. Venerable Sariputta explained that just as the footprint of all animals could be contained within the footprint of an elephant, all wholesome dhammas were comprised in the Four Noble Truths. Also, Sariputta gave a sermon in Sakkavivanga Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya 141. In Sakkavivanga Sutta, the Buddha urged the bhikkhus to seek guidance from the two Thera. They were Venerable Sariputta and the Venerable Moggallana. The Venerable Sariputta could analyze and explain the Four Noble Truths in detail and lead the bhikkhus to the stage of the first path and fruition. First path of fruition means is a Sotapanna, stream of entrance. So it's the beginning stage of following the Noble Eightfold Path. So these three suttas, the Sammaditi, Mahahati Padopama Sutta, and Sakkavivanga Sutta become basic text for the study of a Buddhist doctrine in monastic school throughout the Theravada Buddhist world. Also, the Venerable Ananda delivered 7 sutras in Majjhima Nikaya. Also, the Venerable Mahakachana also spoke 4 sutras in Majjhima Nikaya. The Venerable Moggallana delivered 2 sutras in Majjhima Nikaya, and Moggallana gave the discourse to the bhikkhus in Anumana Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya 15. And Moggallana gave a discourse in a way that if 16 kinds of unwholesome dhammas were detected in oneself, a determined effort should be made to get rid of them. And then 60 kinds of unwholesome dhammas were listed in Anumana Sutta. Also, there is a dialogue between Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Punna in Latta Vinita Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya 24. And this dialogue become foundation, a scheme on the Visuddhimagga. In Latta Vinita Sutta, recounts the dialogue between Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Punna on the 7 stages of purity, such as purity of sila, morality, purity of mind, purity of view. Those things must be passed before attainment to Nibbana. And then these dialogue become the foundation to a scheme of the Visuddhimagga. Also, not only Pigu, but also Piguni, whose name Dhammadina, was asked many questions by the householder, Pisaka, about personality, the origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the way leading to cessation of suffering. All the questions were satisfactorily answered by the Bhikkhuni Dhammadina. Therefore, Buddha once listened to the answer from Bhikkhuni Dhammadina. The Buddha says, I would have explained it to you in the same way. That means Buddha praised the Bhikkhuni Dhammadina when Dhammadina answered to the question regarding Four Noble Truths. In this way, the Buddha's disciples deliver the transmission of the Buddha's teaching in Majjhima Nikaya. When you read some sutra in Majjhima Nikaya, you can estimate some annual schedule of the Buddha and his monastic community. And their annual schedule was determined by the Indian climate. Okay, some sutra says, stay in such monastery, or some sutra says when the Buddha, stroll along the Ganges Valley, something like that. So the background of sutra can be determined depending on the Indian climate. The Indian climate divided the year into 3 seasons. The cold season from November through February, and hot season from March through June. And during cold and hot season, the Buddha wandered through the Ganges Valley or the Himalayan foothills. And the last season is rainy season from July through October. During rainy season, the Buddha and his monastic community remain at a fixed residence because it was impossible to travel due to heavy rains and swollen rivers. Since the Buddha and his disciples stayed in a fixed location, the places where they stayed originate the monastery in the modern world. But except rainy season, during cold and hot season, the Buddha wandered through Ganges Valley or Himalayan foothills, and then expounding his teachings to those who like to listen. So when you read many sutra in Majjhima Nikaya, you will hear about Jeta Grove, or Jetavana, and this is one of the famous monastery where the Buddha stays during rainy season. There's some behind the story about Jetavana monastery at Savatthi, and this monastery was built by wealthy merchant Anathapindika. So when Anathapindika first meet the Buddha, the Anathapindika like to offer the Buddha a meal, as well as Anathapindika like to build a temple for the Buddha and Buddha's disciple in the hometown of Savatthi. And Buddha agreed with his suggestion, his offer. And shortly after, Anathapindika, looking for peaceful, secluded place, which is very proper for Buddhist practice. But that place belonged to the Prince Jeta. So Jetavana or Jeta Grove, this Jeta actually was the name of a prince. And then Prince Jeta was the son of King Pasenadi of Kosala. Anathapindika offered to buy the park from the prince, but the Prince Jeta refused. And Prince Jeta, but Anathapindika keep asking to sell that lands. Then the Prince Jeta tell to Anathapindika like this: okay, if you cover the land with gold, then I might think about to sell this land. So upon the Prince Jeta's comment, the Anathapindika covered the land with a gold coin. So Anathapindika brought 4 of gold pieces with wagons to cover the land with gold coin. Once Prince Jeta heard about this news, then Prince Jeta said, "Oh, I just talked. That was joking." But Anathapindika really covered the land with a gold coin. And Prince Jeta was surprised. But still, Prince Jeta does not want to sell that land. Also, the money brought by Anathapindika in the first journey was not sufficient to cover one small spot near the gateway. So Anathapindika think that, oh, maybe that might be the reason why Prince Jeta still did not want to sell the land. So Anathapindika sent his servant back, to bring more gold coin, gold piece. And that makes really impressed to Prince Jeta. And Prince Jeta, inspired by Anathapindika's eagerness, and eventually Prince Jeta sell the land to Anathapindika. And also, once Prince Jeta received some money from Anathapindika, then Prince Jeta also erect a gateway. So also Prince Jeta also contribute to build this Jetavana monastery. And as you see this photo, it's a really wide area, and Anathapindika built in the grounds dwelling rooms, retiring room, storage and service hall, halls with a fireplace, closet, and halls for exercise, wells, bathroom, ponds, and some open and roofed shed, etc. And this is the coin cover the land by Anathapindika. Okay? This is a sculpture, but probably when Anathapindika cover up the land, this coin should be made up of gold piece. And in Jetavana monastery or Jeta Grove, and there are some small stupa, as you can see, these are the stupa, and then this stupa, inside the stupa, there's some relics made up of ashes. These ashes comes from cremation of a senior monk passed away, and then those relics was put inside each stupa. Also in Jetavana monastery, there's some sculpture you can see, so showing 3 preferred residence of the Buddha. So Jetavana Monastery is one of residence the Buddha want to stay the most. So there's 3 preferred residence where the Buddha stay during rainy season. One of 3 is Jetavana Jetavana Monastery. Jetavana Monastery. And then second monastery, I think Magadhi Monastery, and this was built by a female laywoman, and then she was called Mother of Magadha. But I tried to get the image of that Magadhi Monastery, but it was not easy. And then the other monastery might be called Bamboo Group. And then this is a monastery at Bamboo Group in Lagajaha. Lagajaha is more like in east side of east to north side of India. And this Bamboo Monastery was built by King Bimbisara during 500 BC. And King Bimbisara is known for his cultural achievement, and King Bimbisara was a great friend and protector of the Buddha. And the monastery at Bamboo Group offered by the king of Magadha, who is Senya Bimbisara. Okay. And you can see the king, here's the king, Bimbisara welcomed the Buddha, and here's Buddha, and then the Buddha's disciple. And another place Buddha gave a preach was Virtue Peak. The Virtue Peak, also known as Holy Place, and then it is named because it resembles a sitting vulture with its wings folded. So the Virtue Peak was the Buddha's favorite retreat in Lalagaha. Is old city, the name of an old city, and the scene for many of his discourses also occur in Virtue Peak. So in this part, this place is still there, and then many pilgrimage visitors sitting here and then do Buddhist practice, meditation practice. And then the current place is Bihar in India, Bihar in India, so east of India. So when you read Sutra in Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha, there's some words or phrase to describe the Buddha, such as the giver of the deathless, or the Lord of the Dhamma, or the Holy One, fully enlightened one, Tathagata. These description of the Buddha result from that the Buddha discovers the deepest truth about the nature of existence. Also, the Buddha established a dispensation through which the path to deliverance again becomes accessible to the world. In other words, once the Buddha fully enlightened, the Buddha might not be necessarily preached to the followers, but he chose the way to disseminate Buddhism, and then he provide the path to deliverance. Again, how the followers can reach enlightenment, can reach Nibbana. So this kind of deliverance really make the Buddha great, not only find his own, the path to reach deathless, but also once he have perfect knowledge, he was not reluctant to provide this knowledge and provide guidance to the followers. That's why he can have more than this, much more than this kind of words or phrase to describe the Buddha. And the last one, Tathagata. Tathagata appear pretty much times in several sutra in Majjhima Nikaya. And the meaning of Tathagata, especially in Madhupindika Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya 18, and the Pali commentator explains Tathagata this way. Tathagata means Tata Agata plus Tathagata. Tata Agata means thus come, and Tathagata means thus gone. So Tathagata literally means thus come and thus gone. So thus come means the one who comes into our midst bearing the message of deathlessness, to which he has gone by his own practice of the path. So he discovered the perfect path to reach deathlessness. And then he comes to this world to give that deliverance. And then also he has been gone once he finished his teaching, once he finished his lifespan. And also in Mahasihanada Sutta, Mahasihanada Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya 12, the Tathagata is equipped to have a virtue such as 10 strengths and the 4 kinds of supreme self-confidence. So when you read this sutra, Mahasihanada Sutta, you will find that what are 10 strengths Tathagata can be equipped, can take. And another sutra in Majjhima Nikaya, Gopaka Moggallana Sutta, which is in Majjhima Nikaya 108. And there's some dialogue occur in this sutra, such that there's Brahmins, 2 leading Brahmins ask the Venerable Ananda about whether the Buddha has appointed a particular Bhikkhu or Bhikkhuni to be the head of the Sangha after the Buddha passed away. In other words, the Brahmins was curious about, once Buddha passed away, who will play a role as a Buddha, as like a Buddha. And then these Brahmins want to know if the Sangha had agreed upon a certain Bhikkhu to be their head once the Buddha passed away. Then the Venerable Ananda informed 2 Brahmins like this: there was no such person. There is no person who could substitute the Buddha. When Venerable Ananda told to 2 Brahmins there was no such person, then 2 Brahmins wondered how the Sangha can maintain in agreement and unity. And 2 Brahmins think that, once Buddha passed away, there is no any person who play a role like a Buddha, then this Sangha is going to disintegrate. Okay? Then Venerable Ananda explained to the Brahmins that the Buddha's followers, disciples, had indeed found refuge in the Dhamma, and how the Sangha of each locality recited together the Patimokkha. Patimokkha means every month, every half month on full moon day, then these bhikkhus get together and recite Dhamma. Patimokkha, the summary of this discipline rules. So this way, the Buddha's disciples refuge in the Dhamma. This is the way how the Sangha maintain the system or order. And then in this sutta, Gopaka Sutta, there's some expression appear like this. The blessed one was the arouser of the unarousing path, the producer of the unproduced path, the declarer of the undeclared path. He was the knower of the path, the finder of the path, and the one skilled in the path. You can see there's many paths. The word path appear in this paragraph. And then what kind of a path the Buddha discovered? So in other words, in this sutra, the Venerable Ananda say, the Buddha already discovered, new path. This path really concentrate, really let his followers reach to the deathless, and then it really provide Dhamma. We rely on that Dhamma by reciting Vinaya rules every half month. This is the way how we maintain Sangha. This is the way how the Buddha's disciples take refuge in the Dhamma, even though the Buddha once passed away. So the path, and then we can think about the Noble Eightfold Path. The Buddha discovered the Noble Eightfold Path. So 8 kinds of a path. What are those 8 kinds of a path? And this Noble Eightfold Path come out in Majjhima Nikaya, Digha Nikaya, any kinds of Nikaya. Okay, so I hope you know at least what are the 8 kinds of noble path. So I'm gonna give 1 or 2 minutes. So if you have white paper, you might write down the first, right? What? Second path, what is the name of second path? The third path, up to 8 path. I'm gonna give 1 or 2 minutes now. The constituent of Noble Eightfold Paths are these. First, right view, samadhi. Second, right intention. Third, right speech. Fourth, right action. Fifth, right livelihood. Sixth, right effort. Seventh, right mindfulness. Eighth, right concentration. And this eightfold path consists of a series of 8 concepts. So in Majjhima Nikaya 117, which is Mahachakarisaka Sutta, is detailed. This sutta is a detailed exposition on right concentration. In Mahachakarisaka Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya 117, is mainly focused on this light concentration. And from that sutta, the light concentration, the rest 7 paths is for reaching to right concentration. Okay? So the 7 constituent of a path, noble path, is for the target, is for arriving at right concentration. Okay? So Noble Eightfold Path is to place a detailed description of the jhana path to salvation, because this right concentration samadhi, you can reach a samadhi by meditation practice. Therefore, Noble Eightfold Path is a detailed description of jhana path. Jhana means advanced mental state, extremely calm and quietude, okay? And kinds of a trance. Okay? And then this jhana is the once follower practice Buddhist meditation, the mental states become purified and advanced, and then it leads to right concentration. Therefore, Noble Eightfold Path is directly related to jhana, path to salvation. Let's look at each path. It has some interpretation of the Noble Eightfold Path. First, right view, samadhi. What kind of a view this right view implies? The belief that not all comes to an end with death, and the belief that the Buddha proclaimed a path to salvation, which the Buddha had successfully followed. So, salvation means we know that we eventually will die. Every living being has birth and death. And then that birth, death, sadness, lamentation, these are all suffering. How can we free from suffering? And then the most great suffering might be death. And then Buddha discovered the path to free from death. Buddha found the way to reach a deathlessness. Okay, and then some believe that not all comes to an end with death. Okay? When you look at the phenomena in this way, that you have on the right track of right view. And second, right intention is Samma Sankappa, means leaving home and trying to follow this Noble Eightfold Path as a religion's mendicant. Okay? It's like a homelessness. And then third, right speech, Sammavaka, or maybe Sammavacha. Okay? And then right speech, such as not lying, not telling a lie, not using rude language, not speaking someone behind, only speaking about things that are necessary and only speaking about things which can serve salvation. And right action, Samma Kamanta, is not killing or not injuring others, not taking what is not given, not performing sexual conduct. So right speech, right action, these paths include some 5 precepts. Then continue, the 5th path is right livelihood. Samma Jiva, okay, living from begging. Okay. Begging means, arms round, like that. So only the monastic life is more like just practice, concentrate on practice, and then do not go outside to make money, and then just live like a beggar, but not accepting everything and not possessing more than is strictly necessary. Okay, so only the followers, the believers, lay people donate something and then only receive those things, but do not receive, do not accept everything, do not accept more than you need. Okay, that is one of our right path, belong to a noble eightfold path. And then right effort, Samma Vayama. Right effort, you have to guard, you have to monitor yourself against the possibility that sensual impression or sensual thought should receive any attention. Maybe you might unconsciously just attract to sensual thought, and then you have to be cautious yourself, not being indulged with sensual thought. That is right effort. Right mindfulness. Samma sati. Sati means mindfulness. Okay? Mindfulness means being completely conscious of everything one does, not being absent-minded. So what does this mean? Being completely conscious of everything you do. Are you really conscious on everything you do, moment by moment? Think about this. Sometimes when you have a meal, you might watch TV, and then you might not even think about what you are eating. Okay? So, in mundane world, many people, has complex mind, but right mindfulness is your mind is conscious every moment upon everything you do. So it's not easy. It's really very meticulous levels of practice allow practitioner reach mindfulness. And then further, when you well prepared for mindfulness, when you are very good at equipped with mindfulness, and that facilitates reach right concentration, Samma Samadhi. Okay, so Samma Samadhi, right concentration, is equivalent to the 4 stages of jhana meditation as described before. Okay? If I put it more accurately, the first jhana seems to provide a strong state of concentration, and from which the other stage comes followed. And then the second stage is called samadhi. And then advanced conscious state, which differently responds to the external stimuli. When you reach samadhi, and then the person who enter samadhi, they respond differently upon the external stimuli. Okay? So pretty high level of mental state. So this eightfold path is related to elaborating the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths is life is suffering, the origin of suffering, and cessation of suffering. And the last one is there's a path to lead to the cessation of suffering. And what are those paths? That is Noble Eightfold Path. It's a path leading to the extinction of suffering, which is the last of the Four Noble Truths. In general, Noble Eightfold Path can be recategorized into three, such as morality, sila, and concentration, samadhi, and wisdom, panya. Okay? So in general, if we look at link from 3 to 5, right speech, right action, right livelihood constitute morality, moral training, and this link should be cultivated first. That's why I write down here, cultivate first. Then the link 6, 7, 8, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration can be followed. And then this link constitute mental training, samadhi. And the last right view and right intention constitute wisdom. Okay, so the right view and right intention seems like even higher level than this samadhi. The reason why they categorize right view and right intention into wisdom, the panya, is the insight meditation. So actually, reaching samadhi is kind of a samatha meditation. There are two kinds of meditation. One is a samatha meditation. The other is a vipassana meditation. And this vipassana meditation, insight meditation, when this insight was introduced, it seems ambiguous to find insight throughout this eightfold path, right? So it's hard to put where is the right path, where is the proper path to categorize into insight, panya, in the Noble Eightfold Path. So originally, the insight is not included in the series of Eightfold Path, but the significance of insight meditation or insight panya cannot be ignored. So maybe Buddhist scholars or maybe even disciples like to push to find the insight somewhere in Eightfold Path. Therefore, the first two can be regarded as interpretation of insight, wisdom. And this Eightfold Path, one does not have to necessarily follow the direction strictly in sequence. In other words, you have to do first right speech, action, livelihood, and then you have to move right effort, mindfulness, and concentration. Then you will reach right view and right intention. But does not have to strictly follow this sequence, and some links can even skip depending on the personal potentiality. Okay? So some link also can be done simultaneously, and but the bottom line of Noble Eightfold Path is that it cannot be said that there was no sequence at all and no path. There must be path, but in detail, what is exact, strict sequence that is, ambiguous depending on the individual mentality. But that does not mean there is no path. That's not correct. This is clear and this is evident path when practitioners follow some path, or some practitioners follow entire path. That practice eventually lead to the deathlessness, such as salvation. Okay, let's solve some question. Which of the following is not true? The Buddha was a man in this human world. Buddha was born as a man in this human world. The Buddha was his name. The meaning of the Buddha is fully enlightened with the all-perfect wisdom. The Buddha's real name was Siddhartha, Gautama Siddhartha. So you will solve this question. I think it's not difficult. Okay? Another question, which of the following is not part of Sutta Pitaka? We are studying Sutta Pitaka. Last week you studied Digha Nikaya, and this week you study Majjhima Nikaya, and next week you will study Samyutta Nikaya and Anguttara Nikaya, and more Sutta Pitaka you will study, and then you will know what is the, which one does not belong to Sutta Pitaka. Another question is, how many sutras are there in Majjhima Nikaya? Okay, 34 sutras. 34 sutras were in Digha Nikaya, and today you heard this video, this lecture. Then you will figure out how many sutras are there in Majjhima Nikaya. And during which season in India did the Buddha remain at a fixed residence? So there are 3 seasons in India, and then also I explain about this information in this lecture. So this kinds of a question is kind of checking whether you heard this video, indicate, because solving this question reflect your attendance also. And then one more question, which of the following is not constituent in the Noble Eightfold Path? Okay, so you all write down 8 kinds of a path, noble path on the paper from this lecture. So you will probably familiar with 8 fold noble path. So assignment, this week assignment, you just solve 5 questions. So solve these 5 questions written in the lecture slide. And then first, and then you will submit assignment. First, you will write down your name on the top of the document. Probably you will use a Word document, Word. And then write down the question and answers in the same document with, you use 12 font size and you put double space. And you attach this document to my email address, and the due date of this assignment is May 1st. May 1st, 1 week later, okay? So this is the sample of assignment submission. So first, you will write down this, the code number, course code number, Sutra studies, and this is a semester, and your name, and the due date is May 1st. May 1st. Did I say May 1st here? Yes, May 1st. Here, May 1st here. And how you will make assignment, you will write down the question, write this. And then answer, also you have to write down. Okay? Do not just write down answer as A, like this. Okay? No, just write down this answer sample. Right? And then question 2, you don't have to write down all answer sample, only only you think that is a possible answer. You think that this is a correct answer, then you just write down correct answer. But do not just write down this symbol A or B or C, but the content of correct answer you have to write down. The rest, possible answers, you don't have to write down. Only one correct answer you will write down. And then question 2, also write down the question and then also write down correct answer. Okay, just correct and not possible answer is correct answer description, not just A, B, C, D. Okay, so you will do this until 1st of May. At the same time, you will, this is, 152 sutra is a lot, but when you just read the title of a sutra, there's some translation of a sutra based on title, and then if some title of sutra in Majjhima Nikaya attracts you, and then you go into that sutra and then read. The length of a sutra is not that long, and then when you choose several sutra, that will be very helpful when you make a research paper close to the end of this semester. So I said that maybe you might choose some sutra from Digha Nikaya or maybe some sutra from Majjhima Nikaya, depend on your preference. But once you choose 1 or 2 sutra from Sutta Pitaka, then those sutra will be the source to produce your research paper. Is close to the end of this course. And I told you from syllabus, you will have 2 times of written exam, midterm and final exam. Each exam count for 30% for your final grade. So you have 2 times of exam, so 60% of grade is already assigned for 2 times of written exam. And the last one is final research project. It counts for 40%. And you definitely need to read some sutra from Sutta Pitaka. Okay? And if you still cannot find your favorite sutra from Majjhima Nikaya and Digha Nikaya, then you can wait for Samyutta Nikaya and Anguttara Nikaya. Samyutta Nikaya and Anguttara Nikaya are even shorter than Majjhima Nikaya. But some sutra really deliver important message. So whatever you do final research, you have to include a couple of sutra from Sutta Pitaka. So when you have a time, you just screen some sutra in Majjhima Nikaya and then go into that sutra and read, and then try to think about how you are going to prepare the final project. The final project, if you have any suggestion to me, you can send me email. And I'm thinking about how this sutra, which can be found in Sutta Pitaka, might be modified once Buddhism escaped from India continent. So we are still studying in early Buddhism based on Sutta Pitaka, but this Buddhism migrate out of India then, in other words, in Mahayana context, how this sutra found in early Buddhism still maintain same status, or the interpretation of those sutra might be changed, modified, depending on the new region or depending on some government which does not support, which did not support Buddhism a lot. So some environmental context you will involve to interpret certain sutra which you read from early Buddhist text. So this is all for today's lecture, and then hope you are not late for submitting this assignment. The assignment is not that heavy now, but once you submit this assignment, I will provide extra bonus point. So please be diligent to submit assignment. And then next week, I will provide another video record, and then that video also will include another assignment. So submitting assignment will reflect your attendance. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful day, and then see you or meet you next week by video. Thank you. Bye now.